My name is David Hale, and I thought I had it all. A stable career as an architect, a cozy house by the city, and Claire, my wife, my anchor, my everything, we met in college. She had this way of listening that made you feel like you were the only person alive. I fell for it instantly, and hard. Our first apartment smelled like paint and instant coffee, but we had laughter. We had dreams. I remember the day I got my first real contract. Claire baked a cake that looked like a disaster, yet she wrote, "We did it," on top in shaky icing. I ate it anyway. I had to. That smile, that laugh, worth it. For years we built a life together. Late nights at the office, quiet weekends, candlelit dinners over pasta and cheap wine. If anyone had seen us, they'd say, "That couple's perfect." But life has a way of whispering warnings. Little things, little cracks. Her phone buzzing a little too often. Her laughter changing, suddenly brighter when I wasn't in the room. A new perfume she said a colleague recommended. I told myself not to be paranoid. I trusted her more than gravity. Then came that night. She got home late, claiming traffic. Her hair smelled faintly like smoke, even though she never smoked. She smiled at me, but her eyes didn't. Something snapped that night. I didn't yell. I didn't confront her. I just sat, motionless, heart hammering, and watched the storm outside through the window. Because betrayal doesn't always announce itself with shouting. Sometimes it slides in quietly, wearing the face of someone you love. Over the next weeks, I noticed patterns. The locked laptop, the secretive texts, her laughter that wasn't for me anymore. And that's when I realized I had been living in someone else's story, and it was time to rewrite mine. I remember staring at our wedding photo, the promise we made, the smiles frozen in time. I whispered to myself, "If you think I'm going to fall apart, you don't know me at all." That was the moment the old David died. And the new one, the one who would rise, who would take control, who would turn heartbreak into power, was born. Heartbreak isn't loud. It doesn't always come with screams or smashed glass. Sometimes it hits like a whisper, and that whisper can haunt you forever. It was a Thursday morning. Claire was in the shower, humming a song I didn't know. Her phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. And then I saw the name R. Callahan. Ryan Callahan, my business partner, my oldest friend. I froze. My chest tightened. Every instinct screamed, "Don't look." But I had to. My life had been built on noticing details, on reading the lines between words. And the lines were screaming. I opened the message, one line. "Last night was worth the risk." The phone slipped from my hand. I didn't pick it up. I just stared at the grain in the floorboards, counting heartbeats. When she came out, towel wrapped around her, I could see it in her eyes. Fear, guilt, but also that old flicker of charm that used to fool me. "David," she whispered. I walked past, didn't say a word. The next weeks were fogged in tension. Work became a minefield. Ryan avoided me like a guilty ghost. Claire acted normal at home, but normal had a hollow ring. At night I would sit in the car, engine off, staring at the office building, replaying every word, every lie, every little warning I had ignored. Betrayal changes you. Not overnight, not visibly, but quietly. It reshapes your spine, your instincts, your sense of self. And in that reshaping, a new voice whispered, "You can't fix this by breaking them. You can only fix this by building yourself." One evening, Ryan stumbled into my office, drunk. "David, I didn't mean for it to happen," he slurred. She used me too, he mumbled. I don't know what I thought. I didn't yell. I didn't throw him out. I poured him water, set it on the table. Go home, Ryan, I said calmly. Sleep it off. Tomorrow we'll see who's still standing. That night I wrote 2 letters. 1. My resignation from the firm. 2. An offer to buy back the projects I designed under my name. Not revenge, not malice, just clarity. Control. Independence. The next morning, I placed the envelopes where they had to be. No confrontation, no drama. Just power delivered quietly. By noon, I was free. No more shared accounts. No more pretending. No more letting my past dictate my future. Freedom isn't loud. It doesn't need applause. It's the quiet moment when you exhale and realize the storm is behind you, and you are still standing. They drew their lines in secret, I whispered that night. Now it's my turn to draw mine. Rebuilding doesn't happen overnight. At first it was simple. Wake up, shower, coffee, work, repeat. But somewhere between routine and survival, I felt a spark. A fire that wasn't fueled by rage, but by purpose. I stopped checking her phone, stopped replaying every text in my mind. I started listening, to silence, to my own thoughts, to the sound of life moving forward. I began running again, something I hadn't done since college. Each mile burned the old pain away. By the time I reached the river trail, I felt like a different man, stronger, sharper, untouchable. At work, I kept my head down. Ryan and Claire tiptoed around me like ghosts. I didn't confront them. I didn't need to. Silence can be louder than screams. Then came the studio. My own space. My own rules. A side project at first. Tiny, underfunded, overlooked. But I poured myself into it, night after night, drawing every line, every design, with precision and pride. Clients began noticing. 1 became 2, then 3. Word spread. My name started carrying weight, not as part of the old firm, but as someone who had survived, who had leveled up. Ryan noticed, of course. He tried to act casual, but his eyes gave him away. He knew the tide was turning. And then Claire. She tried to reconnect. Texts, small talks, even dinner invitations. But I had changed. I could smile at her, even talk. To her. But the old David, the one who bent for her whims, was gone. Then one night, everything came to a head. Ryan stumbled into my office, drunk and ashamed. David, I don't know what to do, he said, voice cracking. I didn't yell, didn't argue. I poured him water and said, sleep it off. Tomorrow we see what we've really built. No confrontation, no drama, just clarity, power, independence. That night I wrote 2 letters. 1, my resignation from the firm. 2, an offer to buy back my own projects. Projects I had poured my soul into. No malice, no revenge, just control, just freedom. The next morning, I placed the letters where they belonged. No shouting, no chaos, just quiet justice. By noon, I was free. No shared bank accounts, no pretenses. No one could touch me anymore. Not Claire, not Ryan, not their lies. Freedom isn't loud. It doesn't need recognition. It's the quiet exhale that comes when the storm has passed, and you realize you are still standing. They drew their lines in secret, I whispered. Now it's my turn. to draw mine. 6 months. That's all it took for the fog to lift. For my reflection in the mirror to start looking like someone I actually recognized. I moved into a new apartment by the river. Minimal, clean, quiet. Every morning, coffee in hand, curtains open, sunlight spilling across the floor. This wasn't just routine. It was a ritual of survival. Proof that no matter what collapsed yesterday, I could still show up today. The studio grew faster than I could have imagined. Tiny side projects exploded into contracts, then features in design magazines. People started calling me the comeback architect. I didn't care about labels. This wasn't a comeback. It was a full rebirth. Still, some nights were hard. Loneliness doesn't vanish. It just softens. I'd scroll through old photos of Claire and our life. Once, those pictures would have broken me. Now they just reminded me how far I'd come. Then came the email. Subject: partnership proposal, Callahan Group. Ryan. He wanted to merge firms, trying to pull me back into a world I had already left behind. Trust. That word again. How easily people toss it around when they've never truly earned it. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I printed it and slipped it into my notebook. Not as a warning, but as proof of my own power. Claire called, and next, nearly a year since our last conversation. Her voice trembled, part regret, part exhaustion. I saw your work. I'm proud of you, she said. She wanted to meet, just to talk. Part of me hesitated. Another part, the part rebuilt from ashes, said yes. We met at a small cafe downtown. She looked different. Older not by age, but by weight. The kind that only life can give. She smiled. Her eyes, once so full of manipulation, now reflected regret. I could smile too, but not because of her, because I had finally outgrown the old world. We talked about the firm, our past mistakes, our child. At one point, she reached across the table. I made mistakes, David, but I never stopped caring. I looked at her, calmly. I know, I said, but caring and keeping. Those are two different things. I walked out of that cafe lighter than I had been in years. No triumph, no revenge, just peace, and a deep, unshakable certainty in my own worth. The months after that were transformative. My studio grew from 3 people to 12. We designed schools, hospitals and homes, real homes, built to last. Each structure mirrored my own journey, strong foundations, balanced weight, and open light. Clients noticed. There's something different about your work, David. Grounded. I smiled. Yes, grounded. Because I had rebuilt myself. The award ceremony came next. Innovative Design of the Year. Lights, applause, cameras flashing, and when my name was called, I didn't feel triumph. I felt something better. Completion. Victory over myself. I glanced into the crowd. Claire. Ryan. Their applause polite, their eyes avoiding mine. I didn't need them. Their chapter had ended. I didn't beat them, I whispered to myself. I outgrew them. It's been almost a year since I walked out of that cafe, leaving the past exactly where it belonged. Every morning, I wake up in my own space, my own rhythm, my own peace. I've learned something vital about betrayal and survival. It's not about revenge. It's about taking yourself back. I remember those nights lying awake, replaying every word, every lie, every failure. Back then, I thought those moments would crush me. Instead, they taught me patience, strategy, and the quiet power of resilience. I've built more than a studio over these months. I've rebuilt my trust, my standards, my sense of self. Every blueprint I draw carries a piece of that lesson. Strong foundations survive storms. Claire and Ryan, chapters, not the story. I don't seek closure from them. Their impact exists only to remind me how far I've come. People ask me, why don't you flaunt your success? Rub it in. Here's the truth. Triumph doesn't shout. Triumph shows up quietly. Triumph is living fully, unapologetically, without bitterness. I walk the streets now, breathing deep, letting life pass me by. I see people, chaos, mistakes, and I don't envy them. I simply nod to the rhythm of my own life. I've built mine from ashes, from heartbreak, from betrayal, and it stands taller than any fear ever could. The truth I want to share with you. If you've ever been betrayed, abandoned, or humiliated, if someone's actions made you doubt yourself, know this, your story isn't over. You can rise. You can rebuild. You can triumph. I'm David Hale. I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. I hurt. I learned. And now I thrive. If this story inspired you, here's what to do next. Like this video. Subscribe for more stories of survival and empowerment. Share your own victories or lessons in the comments, because your strength matters too.